Alright, the last thing I remember working on was trying to get this transmission kind of mounted in the car. A bunch of stuff has changed recently. The truck needed some help. Its transmission was whining, so I did a filter and fluid change on that, hoping that keeps working for a while. This is kind of stuck on the hoist until I can get a mount done and remove this, what do you call it, the transmission jack. So I got some dies for this tubing bender that I picked up on Craigslist, and I got a couple pieces of tubing, one for a backup, and we bent this one up, and I'm making a couple of pieces of angle, and I'll try to make a cross member that'll work underneath this thing to connect at the stock locations, come diagonal over here. And I got a couple of humps in it for exhaust clearance, so we'll have to see if that works out. And then if I can get this car off of the hoist, I'd like to get my car on here, my daily driver. It's just a front wheel drive POS with manual transmission, and it's leaking fluid. It won't hold it, so I got to take the transmission out, split it, and reseal it. So that's the goal there. And then do some brakes on that, do some brakes on my wife's car, and maybe get this thing back up and try to work on it again before it's freezing. All summer was too hot to work. I mean, I could have pushed, but I didn't want to. There's plenty of grass to mow here. Thought I'd show some fancy hole drilling. I'm stepping up a couple of drill sizes at a time. I'm not sure if that's the proper thing to do, but it seems to be working fine for me. This is just mild steel, so it seems to cut pretty easy, especially if I go slow and keep a little WD-40 on the drill bit. If I go fast, it seems like it makes a bunch of chips. If I go slow, it makes the metal pubes. I think that's the better way to drill. If you're a machinist, let me know. I just like to get some oil right back on the bit and keep it cool. If that's a thing, I don't know. But try to give these tools every chance they've got. Because I probably, for the most part, don't treat them right. So here's a bolt I'm trying to fit. The goal is get this bracket laid on top of the frame, weld a nut on one side, and then the bolt should be able to thread in without having to use a second wrench. Just for ease of service, I'm sure this will all have to come out again a couple of times. Alright, and after a bit of hand filing, yeah, it's a hole in my shirt. Don't carry batteries out to the barn when you're wearing a good shirt. It always leads to a battery acid hole. Anyway, there's one piece. Nice and drilled. And there's the other piece. This one's got a piece of corner cut off so it'll clear the brake line. I'm thinking we'll throw these in the car, see where they line up, put bolts and nuts in them. And then I'm going to have to get the welder wheeled around and under there and tack the nuts on. And yeah, then pull it back out and finish weld them. if I can zoom. Yeah. I think I'll just do this and we'll worry more about filming afterwards. Awesome. You're doing awesome. I got my metal stuck right in the end there, so I'll have to unclog this in a minute. Okay, got that coming out again. Try to keep tacking. That was a complete miss. I don't think I welded to the angle iron on that very first one. It was just a blob on the nut, so I'm going to add a bit more. Like usual, it's going to take a lot of grinding to make my welds look okay. It's a little much for a tack weld, but it'll work. I just built a new welding table. So let's take a look at my handiwork here. Alright, so this one, tack welds look okay. Got 2 spots there. This one I got 4 spots because when I went to loosen the nut, it just turned. I hadn't actually welded to the angle iron, so I had to do a couple redos. And the other one over there, that all worked out fine on the first try. It's it just had a little more room to work with. So let me zoom out and see if I can give you a better view. Still a little warm. It's been a little bit. So these are a little bit beyond tack welds. But I was kind of shooting blind up there. I've never TIG welded steel successfully, so after learning my problem with aluminum where I had the collet assembled backwards and it was plugging my gas flow, maybe maybe steel will be easier, so We'll give it a shot. You can watch me fail on film. Wow, that's not pretty, but it's so impressively quiet compared to the TIG welder. Yeah, I think I could get better with time over, or overtime on that, but that'll stick metal together for now. So that's the one I did first. That's the second one, already improving. I'll keep working on this and then we'll grind down the other boogers. See if I can go over them and make them look a little bit more presentable. Alright, this is not the most beautiful thing ever, but boy, will it focus? Welds aren't beautiful, but it's good enough for who it's for. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just playing. Seems like good a project as any to learn on. Oh, it's raining. It's a long walk in the rain to get back to the house. Trying to think of what I can do next. Alright, I got the two pieces we just made mounted up in there. They're bolted down. This is the piece of tubing that we bent to the shape that needs to go in. That tubing bender, by the way, works great. It's just air over hydraulic. You hit the button and hold it. We didn't actually like measure angles, just kind of eyeballed. I don't have a way to do that yet, but it made something that looks like it's going to work nice to me. We will have to cut some off of here. We left it a bit long rather than too short, and it doesn't fit, so I'm going to take this to the bandsaw and trim off a little piece and probably iteratively do that until it fits. Smooth. It's real close. I think right on the back here I want to put a piece of angle iron that goes up and back. Drill a hole through that for my transmount bolt. And cut so clean. It's got inclusions and it looks like bird poo, but I think it'll hold up. I mean, when stuff looks like that with the MIG welder, it usually works in a derby, so how much worse could it be to have TIG welds this ugly? Man, that's still hot. Anyway, the goal is slide that under the car, put that little tab up to the transmission and tack it in. But first I think I need to drill the hole in that for the mount bolt. And with that in, it should hold itself up. So I'll get to that. There's the final deal. Got to get some paint on this thing. Maybe one more trowel fit, because who knows how much it shrank after that much filler rod. God, that's hot. More work tomorrow. Here we are with the familiar paint booth hanging from a piece of wire under the car. I'm going to hit this with some etching primer and then a couple coats of black, and it should bolt in. Alright, we're going for the oldest can based on price. This one's $3.49. I don't know what spray paint costs anymore, but go through this and then do the next one. Alright, that's done. This thing's a little bit tacky still, but it's going in today. I'm done waiting. Oh, let's put it on the right way. And the real test, will it support the transmission? Success. That's great, because this thing has been stuck on the transmission jack for the entire summer. So it'll be good to let this thing down, let this hydraulic cylinder sit inside the cylinder so it doesn't get all rusty. And with that and some air in the tires, I can put this thing down and get it out of the way to work on the daily driver cars. It's been a while since it's on its own wheels. Something funny that happened. Hope this isn't active still, but That's all new since I put it up in the air. Gross.